You feel it? That tightness in your chest when the person you love most transforms into something you unrecognize anymore. When looking at her hurts because you know she's there somewhere, but at the same time, she's not. Logan felt that 4 years, and in that moment, in the middle of chaos, with the world crumbling around him, he had to make a choice none of us should ever have to make. Let me tell you what really happened in that scene. Jean Grey was no longer Jean Grey. The Phoenix had consumed everything. Every memory, every smile, every moment they shared was being swallowed by a power she never asked for. It was like watching someone drown in slow motion, knowing that every time you try to reach them, the current pulls harder. And Logan was the only one who could get close, not because he was indestructible, not because of his claws or his healing factor, but because his love was the only thing that still reached her, even when everything else failed. Every step he took toward her, his body disintegrated, flesh tearing, bones exposed, pain that would make any other man stop. But he didn't stop. You know why? Because sometimes loving someone means enduring the pain of being close, even when that closeness destroys you. Logan understood that better than anyone. His whole life was about losing the people who mattered, about carrying scars that his healing factor could never erase. Now, think with me. Have you ever looked at someone and seen two people at the same time? The person she is and the person she was. That version of her that made you laugh, that made you feel at home, that made you believe that maybe, just maybe, you deserved to be loved. Logan saw Jean, the real Jean, trapped inside, begging to be freed from a prison she couldn't break herself. And when he finally reached her, when his hands touched her face, something happened that still gives me chills just remembering. For 1 second, one single second, Jean came back, her eyes cleared. The storm stopped. And in that fragment of time, in that fraction of a moment that lasted an eternity, she looked at him, really looked, as if she was waking from a nightmare, and the first thing she saw was his face. "Save me," she said without needing to speak. And he understood. This is where the scene breaks anyone who has ever truly loved, because Logan didn't want to do it. Every fiber of his body screamed to find another way. He was the Wolverine, the guy who survives everything, the guy who always finds a way out, but there was no way out. Jean was suffering. The Phoenix was destroying everything, and the only person who could end that pain was him, the only person she would let get close enough. So he did what true love sometimes demands. He put her peace above his own happiness. The claws came out, and with them 3 words that carried the weight of years of unspoken words, lost moments, and a future that would never exist. I love you. It wasn't a shout. It was a whisper. Because the most important things we say in life are rarely shouted. They're murmured in quiet moments, when the words cost so much they could barely come out. And Jean heard. Of course she heard, because love finds its way even through chaos. She smiled, a small smile, almost imperceptible, a smile of gratitude, of peace, of someone who could finally rest after fighting an impossible war against herself. You know what destroys me about this scene? It's that Logan didn't cry in that moment. He held it together because he knew she needed to see strength, not despair, that her final seconds deserved someone whole, not someone shattered. The tears came later when she felt, when he held her, when the world started making sense again for everyone except him. Hugh Jackman wasn't acting there. Nobody acts like that. That was real pain channeled through a character. Years of building, of chemistry with Famke Janssen, of understanding who Logan was beneath the adamantium, everything converging in those seconds. And Famke delivered an entire journey in one look. The struggle, the fear, the relief, the love, all there, without needing elaborate dialogue or explanations. This is cinema. This is storytelling. Now, let me ask you something. Have you ever had to let someone go, not because you wanted to, but because staying meant destroying you both? Have you ever held someone's hand knowing it was the last time? This scene works because we've all felt some version of it. Maybe not with claws and mutant powers, but with impossible decisions, with loves that couldn't be, with goodbyes that came too soon. Logan carried this death for the rest of his life. In every movie after, you could see it. In the sleepless nights, in the nightmares, in the inability to truly connect with anyone else. Jean was the wound that never healed in the man who heals from everything. And maybe that's what makes Wolverine so human. Not the metal skeleton, not the claw, not the immortality. It's the capacity to feel so much it hurts, to love so much it wounds, to carry the weight of impossible choices and keep walking, even when every step reminds you of what you lost. The scene from X-Men, The Last Stand, isn't about one mutant killing another. It's about the sacrifice that true love sometimes demands, about choosing someone's peace over your own heart. And that whisper, "I love you," it wasn't just for Jean. It was for everyone who ever loved someone they couldn't save, for everyone who said goodbye too soon, for everyone who understands that sometimes the sharpest claws are the ones we use to free the ones we love from pain. 3 words, 2 people, 1 moment that redefined what it means to be a hero. It's not about winning the battle. It's about being present in the defeats that matter. Now tell me, if you could whisper 3 words to someone you've lost, knowing that somehow they would hear ... what would you say?